Hello, fellow Disney Plus watchers. So nice to talk with you about something Disney Plus today. If you care to support this video in any way, that's always appreciated. Thanks. It's Miss Marvel Wednesday. Of course, I'm always excited. I don't want this show to end. It is paced well, it's written well. What can I say? We are here to talk about the 5th episode of the show called Time and Again. It's actually a really good title upon second thought, and I'll definitely come back to the title. But first, I gotta be honest, I mean, this was not an episode with a lot of juice in it. There's not a lot of forward momentum, as we're mostly seeing flashbacks, and when we're finally caught up with the main story, it runs for another 10 minutes and it ends. And this episode kind of highlighted some stuff that I thought was more on the goofy side of the show, where I didn't really understand the rules, and I really didn't care about the rules of the bangle and how the magic works, and I still don't. The veil, the exact workings of the bangle, what I figured is that I wouldn't really care about how they work exactly, what the in-universe rules are, but after this episode, after some vital character beats are connected to the bangle and the veil and the opening and time and space breaking loose, I have to care about the workings of that magic, and to me, the episode was a little bit confusing for it. But before we go a little more in depth from here, there's going to be spoilers, so please be careful if you haven't seen it. Spoilers ahead. So last week we were left with Kamala stranded within time on the train station during the partition that now brings her to the exact time and place where she needs to be, which funnily enough makes Kamala the deus ex machina of someone else's story. And this is what I meant with the silly side of the show I'm not fully on board with. The bangle is so convenient at this point, you don't want to focus on it too much. Last week the fabric of time was broke loose, you know, because of a spear piercing a hole in it, and somehow she's now here and at the exact right place to find her grandmother. It is very, very sweet that Kamala brings back a picture of Aisha, and that finally brings closure to Nani. Now she's more connected to the memory of her mother, to her family as a whole, and I can see what they're doing. The family is reunited in the past and present, and that's also why I think the title of the episode, Time and Again, works so well. Kamala goes back in time, fixes a separated family, returns in the present, and fixes her separated family. Basically the same thing happens. She's the glue that keeps the family together. She reconnects with both her mother and her grandmother, and they are finally truly together in spirit. I think that's what this episode was all about, and I think it's very sweet for it. But the silly part of the journey with the bangle and stuff is starting to get a little bit too ridiculous to the point that I want to move on. Now I just want to see how Miss Marvel is kicking ass next week while being supported by her mother and teaming up with Kamran to fight the villains, you know?
Okay, who's up for it? Let's go, come on! Hey, one for you!
Rack attack!
The 5th episode of Miss Marvel is just the shortest, least consequential, mostly flashback heavy episode, and I was starting to feel that after a few scenes already. We're being shown exactly what Aisha's story is, how she met Nani's father, how Nani grew up. Wait, I can stop calling her Nani. We finally have a name, Sana. Okay, how did we only learn her name now, given that she's as important as she is? I don't know. I felt the first 20 minutes of the episode were dragged out too much. Their story is significant, but we don't get a ton of information about them. You could literally do their backstory in half the time it's spent on now. I don't want to sound impatient, but I loved how in the show, the family heritage story informed the slow examination of the relationships between Kamala and her mother, between Nani and her mother, between the current characters, between all of them. I'm not gonna get emotionally invested in Hamran and Aisha to great extent, so it would have been better, in my opinion, to keep this section a little shorter. They're here to serve the character development, not watch full mini movies about, and that's just my opinion, but that's how I feel. It felt like it had to pad the runtime to make this a full episode and not part of a longer finale episode. If next week's finale is suddenly an hour and 10 minutes, I would totally understand this decision, but if it's 40 minutes, again, they should have combined it and shortened the section about the whole Aisha and Hamran and stuff. By the way, it's a bit uncomfortable, it's a bit weird to talk about, but I really want to talk about it because maybe I'm way off, but isn't the girl that is cast as young Sana, young Nani, isn't that a boy? To me, it was a bit too confusing. I was wondering throughout the first 15 minutes of the episode constantly, who is this little bloke that this isn't about Nani, is it? I just hate it when casting is a confusing element in a story, like F. Murray Abraham in the Grand Budapest Hotel, for instance, who played an older version of Tony Rivolori's character. It's literally the worst casting I've ever come across. This is not that bad, but still, it stood out to me. I do hope I'm not coming across as too sour on this one. I enjoyed myself again, because I love the show and because of the good performances here, the nice conclusion between Nani, Muniba, and Kamala that put a smile on my face. It's still good. But yeah, 90 minutes into an episode that's 33 minutes long, excluding credits, is spent on a storyline that I'm just not that fully invested in. But I guess it's what you got with these weekly release schedules, which I love weekly releases for these episodes, but sometimes you just have to watch these slightly uneventful chapters that are needed to set up the big stuff, and then it's kind of all you can talk about for now. Now it's up to you. Have you seen episode 5? Then what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video and you want to see more of my opinion on Ms. Marvel, I have a full playlist linked in the right hand corner or in the description. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. Did you like this video? Then there's the simple way to show support. Thank you very much. I'll be back here on the channel Friday. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.